Hi guys, Piotr here. This is Light Forex Global YouTube channel, and this is another episode of the educational video. We are discussing possible supply, possible demand zones. In the previous one, we discussed based on the chart we have here on the left side, right? So I've been showing them the possible supply based on this move to the downside. The thing is, as I mentioned before, that it might sound like it's very easy, but it was easy because it was done based on what already happened, right? If you remember, for example, I've been showing this move to the upside, the breakdown, right? And then retest. The big question is if that was tradable. So that's what we are going to try to answer today. Because we are going to have this type of the possible supply, possible demand zones, plenty of many different charts, plenty of different time zones, and the thing is that we have to remember that if we are going to start to try to trade each of them, we are not gonna be positive on a long run, right? So the one thing is to have a possibility to recognize it, to know what we are looking for on the chart. The second thing is that we have to we have to make the choices which one we wanna trade. It could be, for example, that you are doing your analysis based on the higher time frame, right? And then when you have your bias from the higher time frame, you are switching to the lower time frame, and then you are trying to adapt what you've seen on the higher time frame and trying to execute on a lower time frame to try to have, for example, the stop very close to your entry, right? So that's what we are going to discuss today, because if you see to the right side, right, that was the discussion previous time, just to show you how it might work, but it was based on the history, right? Today we are going to talk euro dollar from the higher time frame, and we will try to prepare. So once you are going to watch in the future the video, you are going to have a possibility to check if this time was that easy, if this time worked properly, right? So let's have a look where we are, guys, from the higher time frame. Let's have a look where we are from the daily chart perspective, all right? And what is important for me is the move to the downside, right? This move to the downside took out this demand, right? So the latest demand here, the one over here, been taken out, all right? So what we have is a drop, and we took out the demand, right? So quite significant drop. Then what we have? We have some kind of the base around the previous demand, which has been taken out already. And then we have the continuation, right? Then we have the continuation. So I'm going to discuss also with the market update this setup, but this is very, very good from the educational purpose. So from the higher time frame, we have drop, base, drop, right? So from the daily chart perspective, we have this possible supply, all right? Now, it's quite wide. True. So we can think about 50% of that. We can make the measure. We can use the fib if you want. And guess what? That's the 50, the levels we hit last Friday. By the way, if you monitor what I'm doing in the live account, I'm already short euro dollar. I started to build even lower, right? But that's 50%. So from the higher time frame, we know where we are, right? We know where we are. Quite wide range, but that's how it works from the higher time frame, especially right here, right now, when the volatility is much higher. So let's switch lower to the lower time frame. What we have here? Here, it could be, we can take into the consideration this attempt to move higher and the break to the downside, right? I would say that this candle is also very important in the whole picture here. So this is the 4-hour chart, so it's quite close to the daily. So let's switch even lower. Let's go to the hourly. Let's have a look if we can find something from the intraday perspective. That's what we are looking for right here, right now. Okay, so also here we see that we have this huge consolidation going on, and well, as you can see, we're still talking about the mid of that, right? And from that perspective, the latest attempt to go higher and then huge Niagara fall right over here, that's the first thing first. Now, because of what we have currently on the market, that's the way, because if you are going to trade it blindly, we have to, we have to try to visualize two things, right? So from the intraday perspective, I may try to approach that zone, all right, and it could be few possibilities how you want to trade that zone, right? How you want to trade that zone, and it could be that once we are going to hit that zone from the intraday perspective, I can place the stop right above. Now there is another thing we have to remember, that the stop hand usually finishing the move, right? So I'm not gonna be surprised at some point to see, maybe not, I'm not gonna be surprised, but it may not necessarily happen. But we have to remember that market may want to try to go even towards 1250, hitting our stops. But once we are going to get back below, you have to be ready to reopen. That's why I'm very often trying to tell you that from intraday perspective, when you are trying to have very quiet, close distance between the entry and stop, you should use a little bit lower. You should have a bit lower exposure, but that's for another meeting, right? Now, what is the good thing? What is the good thing? Okay, let me explain. Now, I think that we are not ready here. That's from the intraday perspective possible liquidity pool. So I do believe that current pullback is retest of the previous supply which has been broken. It's retest right now. So it's some kind of the consumption, right? Then we had another break to the upside here. That was the consumption, right? Everything here, breakout consumption, right? Breakout consumption and stuff like this. So I think that it's gonna be reasonable to think that if my way of thinking is correct, the first target might be around 109.90, all right, and the second target is gonna be half of that consolidation. So what we did today, we did real life example where we are going to have possibility to check in the future if this one work out properly. Again, it's not the Holy Grail, guys. It's not gonna work every time. We have to remember that we are going to be stopped out from time to time, but we did it from the higher time frame to the lower time frame, right? Based on bias to the downside. Guys, it was my pleasure to make another educational video for you. I'm going to get back with more content like this in the near future. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe. Take care and goodbye.